Hi guys, welcome back to Wild Mapper, and today we are doing an alternate History of Europe series. Yeah, this is mostly because I accidentally deleted the alternate Future of Europe series. Yeah, by accident. And well, at first glance, Turkey, the Ottoman Empire, looks like they're in a good state. But are they really? Because think of it. How many states wanted independence at the time? And yeah, there was Italy who wants Libya. And then we have Turkey, who everyone in the Balkans wants to just obliterate. And yeah, that's a bit of knowledge into the time. We have Russia, unhappy with its current situation of all the poverty. And the Russo-Japanese War, which was lost. We have Persia, not really in a good state. We have Austria-Hungary, ethnically diverse. We have the Balkans, which wants to eat those lands and kick the Ottomans out of Europe. Then we have Germany, who's raising world tensions. And then we have Italy, who's lying. Kind of was. And then we have Norway, Sweden, who's about to collapse. And then we have Russia, who's would be about to. And then we have Spain, who's about to go into a civil war. And then we have Portugal, being Portugal, as always. And then we have Britain, relaxing in its own isles, with Ireland under its control. Yeah, it's not United Ireland. Ireland's under its control. Then we have, I think Iceland was part of Denmark at the time. We have the Benelux, pretty much same borders, except Belgium gains a bit of land. Then we have Italy, smaller. Austria-Hungary, larger. Russia, basically eating everything. Yeah, Russia's a fat boy in this timeline. And then we have Switzerland. What was Switzerland doing at this time? The answer is simple: nothing. And then Germany is just united. Well, another thing is there's just the Franco-Prussian War leading to tensions between these two. And I think this is in like the 1800s because Bulgaria is completely owned by the Ottoman Empire. But it won't be long till Bulgaria kind of half leaves the Ottoman Empire, which we will go through. Yeah. Let's start in the Balkans. Yeah. And something interesting is about to happen. Yeah, this is an alternative timeline, so I can do whatever I want, really. And we're all the way back in time, like an alternate history. I know a lot more about this time. A lot. And let's say Bulgaria leaves as a tiny state like this. And yeah, I think in our timeline it had more land when it first gained independence. And then we have the Ottoman Empire, which is in a bit of shambles. We have Russia, who has many peoples wanting independence. Norway, Sweden about to collapse. And let's say Germany does something fun. Yeah. Germany mobilizes and sends its forces into Luxembourg. This is a test to see if this actually works, this type of series. And if it works, we'll have this series. If it doesn't, well, there won't be a series. And so Germany marches its troops into Luxembourg, completely occupying the nation, and then annexing it, because it's still trying to unite German people. And then we have Austria-Hungary, who isn't in the best of state with its relations. But we have Germany, who's creating more and more tensions. Look at Germany eating those lands. Denmark's in a bad position. We have Italy, who is... Want to see how much less land Italy has than they do in our timeline? Well, this is an example of it. So this is about Austria's borders. This is about Italy's borders today, with a bit of Trieste looking kind of like that. And yeah, it's a pretty big area overall that they want. But after World War II, they had a lot of land. We had Germany, who's just over going to war with Austria-Hungary. Now we have the Ottoman Empire, which does not want to let it fly. Yeah, in this timeline, that Bulgaria is independent. But little do they know, there's a secret alliance. A secret one, just waiting for this opportunity to strike. It's a Balkan alliance. Yeah, this is way before the Balkan Wars actually broke out. But for this timeline, yeah, let's go with it. Maybe in this timeline we have extra Balkan Wars. Well, not considering this a Balkan War because, well, it's not. They expect a cakewalk into Bulgaria, but Serbia steps in and decides to help them, which the Ottoman Empire is not prepared for. They quickly push into Bulgaria and campaign into Serbia, with them cutting Bulgaria into two. Bulgaria almost collapsing, but refuses to be under their control again. But they do get help, which is their own people. Some people revolt against Ottoman rule, some Bulgarians. And yeah. Well, it looks like the Ottoman Empire isn't in a good state now. With them rearranging forces, leading to some major pushbacks. Even with Bulgaria reconnecting itself. But does have one upside. They almost completely get rid of one rebel group. And they basically put all the rebel groups down almost perfectly. But there's only one problem for the Ottomans, because, well, Serbia was has prepared its troops and is pushing over towards Montenegro, who at this time sees an opportunity and joins a war. Which the Ottoman Empire is in a bad state now because they weren't expecting this. And so they get pushed back. The Bulgarian rebels continue their advances, despite the fact that they are being destroyed. Because they even gain more support of Bulgars. Well, Serbia and Montenegro, they're all getting ready to. And this new Bulgarian state, which hasn't been around much, is starting to have a counter-offensive. That's almost completely kicked the Ottomans out, even making a push into the Ottoman Empire. Montenegro and Serbia get further. These rebel groups get stronger. And, well, not long after getting stronger, the rebels manage to push along and connect, forming a wall of solidarity. And, well, Ottoman forces are encircled. And yeah, there's no air force at this time, so there's no one to protect them. And, well, with the rebels, they make major advances, the Bulgars, with the forces stuck in Bulgaria getting stuck in Bulgaria. With this, the Ottoman Empire starts to try and get peace, but the Bulgarians ignore until the Ottoman Empire finally agrees that, yeah, well, they need to give up land, A, and B, well, they're a weak nation, so yeah, they kind of got completely embarrassed, one could argue, in this war. Like, isn't this alternative timeline pretty good? And also leave a comment to say if you like this style of this type of video. This is a border they agree upon. With Serbia and Montenegro, on the other hand, Serbia gains a bit of territory. And then they gain a bit more territory. But they don't gain much here, they gain it mostly up here. With Montenegro gaining some lands. And yeah, that's pretty great, because now they're world powers. But the only problem is, they're not really world powers. It's just an exaggeration because they won. But there's still Balkan Wars to happen. The question is, who's going to be the greedy one in this one? Well, there will be naval dominance, but this war didn't really need naval dominance, if that makes much sense. And so, well, the treaty is signed. Many countries agree with the new treaty, even Russia. But Russia states they had nothing to do with strengthening these Balkan nations. Even though we all know at that time, Russia wanted a weakened Ottoman Empire. They were enemies. And, they wanted influence over the Balkans. They believed they were the savior of the Slavic people. And yeah, believing that, yeah. But there's only one problem. For some reason, Polish people decide that they want independence. Definitely not funded by the Germans. Just definitely not. It's what Germany says. But the only thing that's odd about this that stands weird in Russia's eyes is that why isn't any revolting within German territory? I could have used a lighter color, but I think I'm going to reserve that for rebels. Like Poland is going to use purple, even though I like using green. And now you guys see Polish rebels who start throughout it. And well, with the rebellion starting. Well, Russia's in a bad state of internal affairs in this civil war because, well, Germany is supposedly funding those rebels. Well, you can put some funders. There's only one person that's funding the rebels. Well, the problem with this is that Russia can't do anything. After they see German forces within these rebels, they're very upset, but they do nothing because there's nothing they can do. They don't want to start a big war. It's what Russia doesn't want to do with even German forces crossing the border. Small amount to help these Polish rebels. Yeah, and they push in. These Polish rebels eventually occupy a lot of land. Russia then sends its forces in towards these smaller pockets of rebellion and into the north. And well, with this, they take out a lot of the smaller pockets quickly. And I will be right. Rebels getting stronger, but Poland getting more support by Austria-Hungary, who doesn't want to lose land to Poland. So they fund the rebels. But you know who doesn't fund the rebels? Who funds Russia? Who backs Russia? These nations. Because at the time, they were pro-Russia. Well, yeah. But there's reasons for that pro-Russian stance. Because, well, they had no other choice. Because for their own protection and security, they had to do that. So the Ottoman Empire helps the other team. Nobody else does. Everybody else decides to stay uninvolved. Which is crazy, but makes sense. With Russia with support, the only problem is that Poland has a stronger nation supporting them. And when you have a stronger nation supporting you, they manage to do this to Russia. And yeah, they push into the north. They even managed to take Warsaw. with Russia starting to head towards peace. And they even do this. And well, now a peace treaty is drafted. And yet, peace is going to get signed. But after this Polish counteroffensive. So I'll be right back after peace. Some land gained independence, but not all the lands I hoped for. But after this, the first alliance is signed, which will be called the Budapest Pact. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Budapest is where they signed it. And so, yeah, this is a Budapest Pact. And the Budapest Pact even involves Poland. It's mostly stronger nations, Germany and Austria, but with Poland, which is their ally, luckily. But some countries start to take threat to this, such as France and Russia, who decide their best bet is sign a pact in Paris, which benefits them highly. The only problem is that now we have a bit of a Cold War brewing, with some intervention happening because somebody decides it's a great idea to do something. Italy, who, seeing this bad war, decides at a different time they will start the Italo-Ottoman War, which is violent. Why does everybody just want violence in this scenario? I guess because of the time it was. Or maybe people just like hurting each other. I hope it's not the hurting each other part. But now we have this. Ottoman Empire, who won't win, but will fight. But to no avail. Yeah, they even annex lots of lands, but they have one problem. Italy is stronger than them at this time, I believe. Well, I did have the Italo-Ottoman War, Turkish War happening in 2022. But they don't invade the Ottomans directly, because they don't have the power to do that. But they do have one thing on their side. They don't have Yuki generals like they did have in the First World War. And yeah. Let's just color in the areas where there's going to be naval fighting. Because let's just say Turkey is unable to make its own offensive against Italy. Well, with a quick invasion by Italy's navy happening, Ottoman waters are breached, with them quickly hitting the Libyan coast in one area, with them sending another naval vessels to take it over, with them sending even more naval vessels and eventually taking it completely over. Well, they start breaching international waters. And they do this, so that Turkey is unable to send a navy after it. So they destroy the Turkish navy. And well, quickly, they ran their troops and land on the northern Libyan coast, and they push south. But not far south, because that would be dumb. And then they go all the way to Tripoli, which they encircle. And they take over. I don't know what it's called at this time, but I do know that Constantinople is in style. And yeah, they push in. And they even make a little landing off where Albania is. Yeah. And they push to those islands. They take over Libya. And they declare Imperial Italy as a state. As you would. And they push south towards Greece. The Balkans seize this opportunity and help them. But there's no naval fighting because, well, the Turkish Navy fails. And while the Italian Navy climbs. And well, they do this, with Greece helping them. Never saw this happening. And then these guys help them. And while the Italo-Turkish War escalates, and it gets renamed the Balkan War. Yeah, the first Balkan War started differently in this timeline. And with the Macedonia fighting raging on in the Macedonia region, it rages on in Thrace. And they push down. Greece takes these lands, and with help of Italy, they manage to take over the island of Crete. And well, the Ottoman Empire refuses peace, but then, with Bulgaria's help, they encircle Constantinople and take over the Dardanelles. And then they conquer Constantinople, and, well, the Ottoman Empire is forced to peace. And, well, in the peace treaty, Bulgaria gains these lands. Greece gains these lands. Italy gains those lands. Montenegro gains these lands. And Serbia gains the rest. Well, Italy also kind of took over all the lands. No, I'm kidding. They only took over one area. And now they do a campaign of erasing stuff. Because they can. And well, they do this. They get rid of the rest of the Ottoman Empire. And then they do this to the water. And then, for the border erasing party, they end up going to this, a border erasing party, which they erase borders to redraw the Balkan borders. Bulgaria gets a lot of land. Serbia looks weird. And then we have Greece, who's just here. Happy that they got bigger. And thank you for viewing. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like and subscribe. That's all for today's video. Except one thing. Please subscribe. We're up at 46 subscribers. I want to get to 50 subscribers for a special. So if you could help me, please like and subscribe. And that's all for today's video. Wild Mapper